You are smart. I know you are. You've read the books, you've listened to the podcasts. You probably know more about cortisol and gut health than most doctors. And yet, you are still exhausted. Still dragging yourself through afternoon. Still snapping at your kids because you've got nothing left in the tank by 5 p.m. Still lying awake at 2 a.m. with a brain that won't shut off. Even though you've tried every sleep hack on the internet. Here is what's wild about that. You are not failing because you are lazy. You are not failing because you don't care. You are failing because you are smart. And I know that sounds backwards, but stick with me, because by the end of this video, you are going to understand exactly why your intelligence has become the biggest obstacle between you and the energy that you deserve. And more importantly, what to do about it. Let me explain what I mean. There is a paradox happening right now in health and wellness. Biohacking has become a $40 billion industry. 40 billion. We've got wearable rings tracking our sleep stages, continuous glucose monitors on our arms, apps measuring our heart rate variability down to the millisecond. We have more health data than any generation in human history. And people are more exhausted, more anxious, and more disconnected from their own bodies than ever before. A medical researcher named Dr. Molinari put it perfectly. He said the more people chase optimization, the more anxious, fatigued, and disconnected they become. Biohacking started as a movement for freedom, and now for many, it became a new kind of prison. That should bother you, because if you're watching this video, there is a good chance you're living inside that prison right now. And you don't even realize it, because it looks like progress. It looks like discipline. It looks like you doing the right thing. But here is the truth nobody wants to say out loud. Researching your health is not the same as improving your health. And for a lot of smart-driven people, the research has become a way to avoid the thing that actually scares them, which is committing to something simply and doing it consistently, day after day, without a guarantee. I see this all the time in my practice. Someone comes to me, sharp, successful, crushing it at work, and they hand me a list of 27 supplements they are taking. They've done a Dutch test, a hair mineral analysis, they are tracking their macros in 3 different apps, and I look at them and I say, how's your sleep? Terrible. How much water are you drinking? I don't know, maybe 2 glasses? When's the last time you went for a walk outside in the morning? Silence. See, that's the optimization paradox. You are so busy optimizing the advanced stuff that you've completely skipped the foundation. It's like trying to install a skylight on a house that doesn't have a roof. Hal Elrod, the Miracle Morning Guy, he spoke at Dave Asprey's biohacking conference recently, and he said something that stopped me in my track. He said, biohacking is powerful, but not when it becomes a performance, not when it becomes a stressful obsession, and optimization is helpful, but not when it replaces consistency. Read that again. Optimization is helpful, but not when it replaces consistency. Your goals are not achieved by doing everything perfectly, they are achieved by doing something repeatedly. Now, I want to give you something that actually helps with this. I created a free energy blocker quiz that helps you identify the specific thing that's sabotaging your energy right now. Not 20 things, the thing. The link is in the description. If you want to take it, it takes about 3 minutes. Okay, so let's go deeper. Why does this happen? Why do intelligent, motivated people get stuck in this loop? There is real neuroscience behind it. Dr. Andrew Huberman had Michael Platt on his podcast. Platt is a professor of neuroscience at the University of Pennsylvania, and they talk about how our hormones and social status literally shape the way that we make decisions. Here's what's fascinating. When you are under chronic stress, when your cortisol is elevated, when you haven't slept well, when you are running on fumes, your brain shifts into a mode that prioritizes speed over accuracy. You stop making critical decisions, but you start making reactive ones. And what does reactive decision-making look like in health? It looks like buying a new supplement at midnight because you saw an ad. It looks like starting a new protocol every 3 weeks because the last one didn't produce instant results. It looks like spending 4 hours researching clot plunges instead of going to bed on time. Your stress brain is literally wired to seek novelty instead of consistency. And the health industry knows this. Every new product, every new hack, every new influencer protocol, it's all designed to trigger that dopamine hit of this might be the answer. But dopamine isn't transformation. Dopamine is distraction dressed up as progress. Sean Stevenson talks about this on his show. He says the number one driving force of the human psyche is to stay congruent with who we believe ourselves to be. So if you identify as a researcher, as someone who does their homework, as the person who knows all the things, your brain will keep you in the research mode because that feels like you, that feels safe. Actually doing the simple, boring foundational work that challenges your identity, and your brain fights that with everything it's got. So what's the way out? Look, I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. I run labs. I believe in data. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that testing and tracking don't matter. They absolutely do. But here's what I've learned after working with high-performing people who are burnt out and frustrated. Before we chase advanced lab markers, before we get into Dutch tests and organic acid panels and genetic SNPs, we need to check the foundation first. In my practice, I use 5 foundational lab tests that look at your whole system, not just one number: your stress hormones and cortisol rhythm, your metabolic function, how your liver and digestion are actually processing things, your gut integrity, because a leaky gut doesn't just upset digestion, it drains energy from the inside out, your gut microbiome, and your food sensitivities. Because sometimes the food stealing your energy is the one you'd never suspect. These aren't sexy, they are not trending on Instagram, but they reveal the hidden pattern that the standard blood work completely misses. And here's what I see over and over. When one of these systems is off, say your cortisol rhythm is flat because you've been in survival mode for years, it creates a domino effect. Your hormones talk to your gut talks to your brain talks to your liver, everything is connected. In functional health, we call this metabolic chaos. And you cannot supplement your way out of metabolic chaos. You have to find the root. Now, if you are hearing this and thinking, okay, that's me, I'm stuck in this trap and I don't know how to get out, I want you to know that's exactly why I do what I do. I offer free 30-minute sessions specifically for people in this situation. No pitch, no pressure, just a conversation to help you see what's actually going on and what the next step looks like. The link is in the comments. But I also want to give you something you can do right now. Today, without buying anything, testing anything, or downloading anything. Here are 3 things, and they might feel too simple. And that's actually the point. Number 1, go outside within 30 minutes of waking up tomorrow. No phone, just sunlight on your face for 10 minutes. Dave Asprey talks about this in his biohacking basics. Morning sun helps your circadian rhythm, your mood, and your sleep that night. It's free, it's ancient, and it works. Number 2, drink a full glass of water before your first cup of coffee. I know, revolutionary, right? But the hydration is the most overlooked energy killer I see. Your brain is 75% water. When it's dry, it's slow, period. Number 3, and this is the big one. Pick one health habit you've been meaning to start and commit to doing it for 30 days. Not 5 habits, not a complete protocol overhaul. One thing. Because as Hal Elrod said, your goals aren't achieved by doing everything perfectly. They are achieved by doing something repeatedly. Stop climbing multiple ladders and wondering why you never reach the top of any of them. Pick one, climb it, then pick the next one. Ryan Holiday, the Stoic philosopher, best-selling author, he was on Finding Mastery recently and said something that hit me hard. He said, wisdom is a verb, not a noun. It's something you practice, not something you have. And I think that's the real lesson here. Being smart about your health is not about how much you know. It's about what you actually do with what you know. Wisdom is not collecting information. It's having the courage to act on the simple stuff, even when your ego says it's not enough. So let me talk to you directly for a second. If you've been exhausted for months, maybe years, and you've tried everything, you haven't tried everything. You've tried everything complicated. You haven't tried trusting the basics. You haven't tried being patient with yourself. You haven't tried letting go of the idea that you need to optimize your way to feeling human again. You are not broken. You are not a failed experiment. You are a smart person who got caught in a trap that was designed for smart people. And the way out isn't another hack. The way out is honesty. Honesty about what's actually going on in your body. Honesty about what you've been avoiding. And honesty about what you really need, which most of the time is a lot simpler than you think. Energy isn't luck. It's not genetics. It's a skill you can learn, but you have to be willing to start with the foundation instead of the skylight. Take the energy blocker quiz. Find out what's actually training you. Links in the description. And if you want someone to walk through this with you, book a free call, 30 minutes. Let's figure out your next step together. The links are in the description as well. You deserve to feel like yourself again. I believe that, and I've got you. I'll see you in the next one.